Hello, friends. Welcome back to another episode of Jonah and the Pod. Today we have a very special guest. We have the mother of my wonderful niece, the wife of my crazy brother, and someone that has done most of the editing for the Instagram and all that stuff.
Oh, okay, yeah, fair. I was like, most
not the podcast, but like all the posts and all the good posts are from her, all the bad posts are from me. So yeah, everyone, please welcome the lovely Lauren.
Hello, everyone.
Lauren J. Tiny.
Where do I look actually? Hello.
But yeah, it doesn't matter.
Hello.
I don't know if we'll cut to that now.
That's fine.
Yeah, so this is Lauren.
Hi,
Lauren,
guys.
if you want to introduce yourself, what's been going on in life? Lauren, who you are, who are you?
I'm Lauren. I am 27 years old, wife, mother of kind of two. Second one's coming. And I'm basically just a stay-at-home mother at this point in my life, but it is the best thing ever, so I don't even care what people say, whatever. It is a job. I like creating things, as Jonah has said. I do a lot of editing, not nowadays, again, because mum life, but I do enjoy creating. I have a background in performing arts and everything, so I'm kind of the weird person that everyone knows because everyone's like, ew, acting, but more like acting games. If you know, you know. But yeah, I love creating, just doing things by myself in a sense. And yeah, I don't know what else to say.
That's pretty much the first time I ever met Lauren. Not met Lauren.
I think I know what you're going to say.
The first memory I have of Lauren, and I always say this to her, is literally like, I think you were in year 8. Well, you know, you were in year 6. You were in year 6.
Probably, yeah.
I was in year 3.
Mm.
Is that right? Yeah, I think so, right? You're 3 years older than me.
Something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I was in year 3. She was in year 6. And we had something called NTT at our school. And
New talent time.
Yeah, new talent time. And it's literally just where whatever student does the talent. And then there was like a show of like the best talents. So the NTT would be at lunchtime. And then the teachers would pick their favorites. And then like there was
it's
one.
so weird when you explain it that way, but it's like, it's what happened.
Yeah, it literally happened. And then there's one big event of the best talents.
Mm.
And Lauren was there, and literally all I remember was like her fitting in a box.
Oh my God.
Like that she shouldn't be able to. Is a contortionist.
Look, probably to you guys it seemed like contortion.
What do you call it?
It was literally just like, contortion is so extremely flexible, whereas this was just like regular kind of like dancer flexibility. But the box was actually made for my height.
Oh, okay.
So like if I kneeled down, it was meant to fit me. So yeah, it was custom made for me.
Right. So it's all
but yeah.
You're a fraud.
Look,
well,
yes, I'm definitely a fraud.
My brother literally married you for that reason.
100%.
That's rude. I'm joking. Yeah. So that's the first time I ever saw Lauren, and then later on, maybe like 4 years later, you started coming to our church.
I think so. I think I started coming in year 9. So yeah, 3-4 years later.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, everyone from our old church went to the same school. Pretty much, like 95% of people. So everyone kind of knew each other, but they knew each other from like family. I came into the mix a little bit later, but I knew everyone from school first and then church. So that's why everyone is just like, yeah, we all just know.
Yeah. So Lauren is in Anthony's grade, and my brother, Roger, is 3 years older than Anthony. So it's like the way it worked out was so just like so
and
bizarre.
I have an older sister who is in Roger's grade.
Yeah.
So it's like
yeah.
We did some kind of weird swap, I guess.
Yeah, it was very odd, and he came out of nowhere as well. I think
100%.
I think I was the first to realize that you guys were together.
Probably. Probably.
Because I was like, Roger, what's going on? Because Roger was like, oh, I just want to live on a boat. I don't want to get married. And then I look at it.
Boat dream.
Yeah, the boat dream. And then I look, like, just because you were, what was it? You were both like youth leaders?
Yes. It was that weird transition time where a lot of people that were in youth left youth because we just like, we didn't have leaders. So Roger and Joel kind of like transitioned themselves into leaders, and I was kind of just there.
Yeah, I remember we did.
Because like no one else was there.
That was such a funny time.
A youth group.
That was such a funny time because we were looking for a woman leader the whole time, and Lauren,
I'm just like, hey guys, I'm here.
Lauren was always there, and then like it was probably like a year or 2 years later.
Yeah.
Roger's like, guys, we have a woman leader with us.
Literally, I was in uni, and I was just there for the ride.
But I remember you guys like. Roger, I won't say what the reason Roger started hanging out with you. Oh, so he says.
Oh,
I
actually don't know the truth. I honestly don't know. Like he says these things, but I'm just like, Roger's also such a clown.
Yeah.
In the nicest way possible. Like he's just a bit. He likes to entertain with his personality, as you could probably tell if you've seen his episode of the podcast. So yeah, I actually don't know if that's the truth.
Thing is, it was a bit more calm then. So he was on like I'll just say like, I want to help her vibe, sort of like.
I think like that's like the legit thing, like underneath, but like on top, he was kind of like, I'm a bit of a psycho, so like I'll just say this.
Can I just say? Can I say the reason?
Go. I really don't care. Like
he was studying psychology at the time.
My God.
And he's like, oh, I just like. I want to sort of help her. I want to like practice my psychology, sort of vibe. That's what he was pretty much saying. And I was just like, I was probably like,
oh, there's a third reason as well.
What is it?
So because my older sister and I'll just say Arcee because like everyone knows Arcee at this point, we're dating. He's like, oh, Arcee, how about I date Lauren and then we can be brothers?
Oh, I do remember that.
There's like a plethora of reasons. Who knows which one's the actual one?
No, that has to be a joke.
Yeah.
That has to be a joke.
But if he tells people, like, that's the reason. Like, all the people we've met at our new church, he's told them that reason.
No, that's...
Which is probably, the least real one. But who knows?
So, yeah, that was like... And then through that, like, Lauren sort of... I mean, they got married and then Lauren joined the family and now Lauren's just around.
I'm just here, chilling.
She produced
the greatest human ever.
Yeah, the greatest kid on earth.
I'm not biased at all.
Honestly, if you met her, you'll know.
Legit. She's literally the best. Like, I know everyone's like, oh, you're biased because she's like, you're her mother, but she's just so unique. Like everyone that meets her is like, this child is different.
Look, like I fully agree with you, but no matter what you say,
I know that's what I'm saying. Like no matter what I say, everyone's gonna be like, you're biased. But like, I can't stress enough how different she is, in a good way. Again, in a good way.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like that's just how we, I guess, got to know each other. Would you like to share a bit of your testimony? You don't have to go into detail, but
sure. I was actually telling Jonah before because we're like, what direction are we going to go in? I feel like my testimony is not like, I mean, I know it's a huge thing where it's like your testimony doesn't have to be this huge, like my life was like a huge, what is that, 360, 180?
180, not 360.
360, that's a lot. Like a 180. But yeah, so I'll touch on like how I fully came to be like, you know what? Yeah, I am a Christian. But then I'll just, I guess, talk about stuff that's been happening lately.
I will just clarify whenever I said testimony, I know people usually think like how he came to know Christ, but I said this to Lauren before. It's literally just any time in life where sort of God has revealed something to you or like has impacted your life that much. It is a testimony now to like.
I mean, that's what like the word testimony, like it's just a testament of how God has worked in your life.
Yeah, that's right. So
it's weird how like everyone's just like, no, it's how you came to become a Christian.
No, yeah.
It's anyway. We'll just start from the beginning though. Anyway, I don't fully know if I was born into a Christian family. I do know that we were going to church and everything, but one time when I went to actually share my testimony, my like full like how I came to know Christ testimony, my older sister told me that we weren't brought up in a Christian home. So I think it was kind of just like one of those things where culturally Christianity was more acceptable and you just went to church because that's what you do on a Sunday, you go to church. So yeah, we did have some kind of like Christian basis. But again, it's not like our parents were like reading the Bible to us when we were at home. Like my dad would be like, okay, we have to pray before we go to sleep kind of thing. And like that was the extent of it. But basically we started going to a Christian school when I was in year 4, which is the school that we went to. And I think that was kind of like, I was always a goody two shoes. I mean, I think everyone knows that. I'm such a goody two shoes. I like to follow the rules. I don't like doing things wrong, basically. So for me, as a young kind of Christian, I would always be like, yeah, you know, the Bible says this, like we follow the Bible kind of thing. I would always be like, I love Jesus and everything. Again, you little cute girl that just doesn't stray away from what the rules are. And I think one of the most pivotal points is when my parents separated. It didn't cause me to like shake my head at God and like shake my fists at him, be like, why have you done this, and hate him or anything. I always knew like God is God. Like whatever happens, happens. But just as a human being, it did cause me to kind of go into kind of like depression and just a wondering of like, why is this happening? Like, I think everyone who's a child of divorce thinks that. I never really thought of it as like my fault or anything, but it was just a weird time of my life. And I was angry, again, not at God. It was just angry because I didn't know what was happening. I became really secluded in my life. And I think that's kind of the point where I actually became an introvert. Like, honestly, I'm a huge introvert these days. I think everyone knows that. But I think there was more of an environmental impact rather than who I actually am. But yeah, I became really closed off and just to myself. And I think when I started, because we stopped going to church around that time, I'm not sure why exactly. Oh wait, no, I do remember. We were always going to like dance classes and performing arts classes on a Saturday. So because it was like from 9 o'clock in the morning to like, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, sometimes later, depending on like the season. Yeah, we would get really tired. So we kind of like stopped going to church on a Sunday because we're just too tired to wake up. As young kids doing that kind of stuff, of course, you'd be exhausted. But yeah, at some point we stopped going to church. We would always still say that we're Christians, but yeah, there was just like the routine was gone. And when I was in year 9, so this is like when everything started kind of happening, my older sister and her best friend started going to our old church. Yeah. And one of my friends, like the friend group that I was in, they were just like, hey, do you want to come to youth group? I was like, okay, yeah, sure. Like, why not? I went to their youth group, happened every fortnight on a Friday. So I one time went to my friend's house on the bus, straight from school. And like, I'd never gone on the bus before. I was just like, wow, this is so cool kind of thing. And yeah, so we went to youth, came back home. And then the coming Monday, I couldn't find my school shoes. I don't know if anyone actually knows this story. It's so weird, but like, it makes a lot of sense. Like God was just doing his thing and I just didn't understand it at the time. But I couldn't find my school shoes. And because I am, again, a stickler for the rules, I was just like, I am not going to school in the wrong uniform.
That's
like,
so opposite of me. But
literally everyone goes to school in the wrong uniform. They're like, you can only come to school in your PE uniform if you have PE. And everyone just, I'm pretty sure you're one of those people who just went in your sports
like
uniform.
Like genuinely
all the time.
year 9, year 10, and you actually, I don't know if you're 11, but year 9 and year 10, I didn't wear my normal school uniform once.
like
So every teacher didn't know if I had PE or like I had football or pass or whatever it was. So just every day,
and like here I am being like,
I don't condone it, but
no, but I was like terrified. Like I'm going to get in trouble. My mom's like, no, like I'll write a note. It's okay. Like, and I was just like, I'm not going because I'm going to be wearing the wrong shoes. She's like, wear your sports shoes. It's fine. I'm like, no, I am not. So my mom got really angry with me and she's like, okay, fine. If you're going to be this way, you're never going to that youth ever again. Go to the one with your sister.
actually,
And it was
that's
down the
so
road
funny.
from us as well. So it was easier. So that's how I kept coming to our church. I was going on like the
That's
off
so
week,
funny.
but consistently it was from that point.
Did you find your shoes?
Yeah, it was at my friend's house.
Okay.
So yes, it made sense.
Yeah,
But again, like in the grand scheme of things,
that's
it sounds so trivial and like stupid,
yeah.
but like God's like, you're going to this church.
God use some shoes.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I started coming to our church, and this was when Manila came up. We had a mission trip, and I was only going there for 2-3 months before we went on the mission trip.
Manila, by the way, is in Australia, not the Philippines.
No, not the Philippines.
Time worse.
It's literally like what, 7-hour drive up north or something?
Yeah.
Oh wait, or is that Kuna?
It's-
I don't remember.
No, that is. Yeah, I think it's northwest, isn't it?
Somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's in the bush, basically. But we went there on our mission trip, and my sister and her best friend at the time really stuck close to I'm not going to say the last name, but like Arcee and Joel and their family and everything. I was just going to say anyway.
Yeah.
And so I kind of like just melded into that, and Joel was actually like super nice to me.
Sorry, just real quick. If you don't know, like when we say Arcee and Joel, Naomi has been on the podcast before, so we use Naomi as a reference point. As in Naomi's brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like their family, and still fantastic, close friends with them to this day.
Yeah.
But yeah, Joel was really, really nice to me. He actually put effort into like talking to me and everything. And to me, that was weird because I never had that really. Like no one really put the effort into like getting to know me. So me being weird and like teenager, I'm like, oh my gosh, he likes me. I think everyone knows I had a crush on him at this stage. But literally it was purely because me socially,
like you just got attention from a guy. From
exactly.
Handsome guy as well. By the way.
He's not available anymore though.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, for me, getting attention from someone, it wasn't like, oh, they're actually just genuinely being friendly. It was like, oh my gosh, they're interested in me. But again, God works in weird ways that we don't understand. And it played a huge role into me actually professing that, I am a Christian. So I don't know if you know about this because you weren't there at Manila, but there was this one night that everything just went like I don't even know how to explain it. Everything went wrong. Everything, yeah. I think the State of Origin was on that night and people were watching it. They actually went like super crazy. They ended up breaking a table of some sort. I don't actually know. Like I wasn't there. It wasn't like a huge table. It was like a little coffee table, kind of like this one.
Yeah. So what's interesting about I was just thinking about a Manila trip.
What?
It's literally like the Word of Life people were there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It was like
that's when we first met, like Martin and everything. Yeah.
Martin always tells me. Sorry, I know. I just
no, it's fine. It's
the
fine.
story, but Martin always tells me. He always tells me like, "Your brother's crazy." It's like he found like a kangaroo or something. A fox, and he cut his tail off and he kept it, something like that.
Foxes are my favorite animal. So like Roger talks about that all the time, and then he'll be watching a video and he'd be like, "Hey, come look at this," and it's of someone like killing a fox. I'm like, "Why? Why are you like this?" And he just laughs like. Oh. Anyway. Yeah. Roger. Everyone found out that Roger's weird, a psychopath. He was like playing a recorder every 2 seconds. He, again, found a fox that was like roadkill, and he cut its tail off to keep it. Like, who
Those
does
are
that?
just funny days. Now he's just
He thinks it's funny.
yeah, he thinks he's funny now. But he's not. It's my brother. I can say that.
Yeah. But yeah, that night everything just went chaotic. And there was someone who they became really sick. They needed to go to the hospital. And like everything was just going absolutely wrong. And for me, that I had a moment where I don't even know what it was, but it was kind of like a family thing, where I felt like, I'm alone. Like no one actually cares. And I'm not getting teary. My throat just went weird. Just
okay. If you want to cry, you can.
But yeah, I just had this moment where I felt like, no one actually cares. I'm alone. Like whatever. And I started crying, and I honestly didn't fully understand what I was feeling. I was really confused. And someone came to talk to me, and they were just like, do you want to talk about it? I'm just like, no, like no one understands. And they're just like, okay, like what do you want me to do? And then I was like, look, the only person that would understand is Joel, because like Joel's the only one that really was talking to me, putting effort into getting to know me. We chat on like MSN days all the time. And yeah, like, so someone went and got Joel, like we were talking, and I don't know, at some point, somehow, like, because it was like a family thing, like family got involved and we sorted everything out. And somehow, like, I came to the realization the following day, I think actually, that God actually does care about me. And like, specifically me, like he cares about each person individually, not just a collective of people. And that he's actually using people in my life to come and reach out to me. And that's when I was like, Joel is like such a pivotal point, like in my life. And I actually think that Joel cried that night as well, because he's just like
fully exposing
exposed. Because like, yeah, just like the supernatural, I guess, spiritual kind of sense of it. Yeah. And like the following day, I think everyone felt some kind of weight in that sense for their own personal reasons. But yeah, I would say that was when I was just like, no, I am a Christian. Like I think a lot of people say this, they knew that they were a follower of Christ, but this is when they actually decided, no, my life is.
This when like the Christ. 180s happened.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that was the main point in my life where I was just like, I'm a Christian. Nothing really like fully 180'd. Like I know a lot of people just like, I changed completely after that. I didn't really have that. I was still going through like the movements of having my parents separated and like divorced. That was still tough. And like on top of that, my little sister was there who, like, it's not a terrible thing, but we kind of had to have the role of being another parent at such a young age. So we had a lot of that stuff happening as well. But yeah, that's the basis.
It's cool though.
My testimony, I guess.
God used a shoe.
I know.
I know. Yeah.
God
it's
can
crazy.
use anything. It's so weird, but he knows what he's doing.
Yeah. When it seems hopeless, just know that God can use a shoe.
I know, right?
He uses a donkey literally to speak.
Yeah.
He used Joel.
Yeah.
Not a donkey.
No, not a donkey, for sure. But when we talk about my testimony as of late, I'll talk about last month in particular.
Oh, okay.
I really want to share this story. It is wild to me. But basically, we live in a granny flat. We have a toddler who's almost turning 2. We have another one on the way. And the space is small. So we were just like, we want to move on to kind of get a bigger space. And like everything always seems cluttered purely because the space is small. And we live close. Like I live down the road from Jonah. And, you know, it's not terrible. It's good to have family close by. But for me, who's someone who loves her privacy and who's married into an Arab family, it's a bit difficult. So yeah, there's those two reasons.
I would just clarify.
Yeah.
Like her, not to me because I sort of understand Lauren, but to proper Arabs, privacy, it means a different thing. It's like the level of privacy is different. Lauren's privacy is like up here when Arabs
it might be off the charts.
Like she wants proper privacy.
Yeah.
But Arab privacy is like, oh, I'll give you your space for an hour.
And I think because I'm an introvert as well.
Yeah.
Like it's not a normal sense of privacy. It's like
it makes
privacy.
Sense. Yeah, it makes sense.
And also growing up, because again of the whole divorce situation with my parents, my mom became an extremely private person as well, which I understand why. But yeah, so I think that was kind of imprinted on me as well. So having that, anyway, basically I love my privacy. So we were looking to move out and rent, but also because of the climate of, what's the word? Everything becoming more expensive.
Oh, inflation.
That one. Yeah. It was a little bit difficult. And at this time where we were just like, we want to move out to kind of like start our own lives in a sense, Roger also was struggling to find work. And it was like the biggest kind of dry spell in his work for a very long time since like COVID.
I think like Christmas time period is always tough.
Yeah, usually it is. But
he's a painter, by the way.
If you need a painter, let me know.
Let me know as well. It's probably easier to reach me.
True.
Actually, like, if you reach me, you're pretty much reaching Lauren because
like literally anyone in the family, you can reach out to them. They'll be like, I know a painter. I need 2 painters because he works with his dad. But this was I know Christmas time is usually because everyone's like, oh, I have no money because I'm spending money on Christmas. This was like before even that. So it was very weird, especially for Roger. And he was like stressing out because again, like everything is becoming more expensive. Cost of living, that's the one I was thinking.
Cost of living crisis.
But like inflation, same thing. And so it's like we're having a second kid. We want to move out, but like it's expensive. And like we can't buy a house because again, houses are ridiculously expensive. Roger's struggling with work. And we even considered me going back to work, but like, first of all, we have a toddler and I'm pregnant. It's like, who wants a pregnant woman as a new staff member who's just going to leave in like a few months or like a few weeks or whatever? So yeah, we were struggling to find where to move to. And we looked at a few rental properties, and what you get because our budget was $500 a week. What you get for $500 a week is a shoebox. And basically, like, not well maintained. You can see mold in the bathroom and everything like that. So, yeah. And for me, like, I'm really picky with that kind of stuff. I'm just like, especially since we moved into the granny flat and it was like brand new and like modern. So going into all these places where it's just like
old and run down.
Yeah. There was a granny flat that we went to see. There were so many people that came to look at it. It was tiny for $500 a week. I think it was a 1-bedroom as well. Like, actually, no, it might have been a 2-bedroom, but like the size of the bedrooms, basically, it was like a 1-bedroom. And there was like no room whatsoever. So it was like just the market, the rental market, the whole real estate market is just crazy. But Roger's real estate agent, because, you know, he has property or whatever, he was actually just like, oh, wait, I actually have a place. It's 5 minutes away from here. It's a 3-bedroom. The rent is a little bit higher than what you want, but because they want to build a granny flat on the back, I can like get them to get it down. And like, I can say like, I know you people, you guys are really nice people. And basically, yeah, the real estate agent did his thing and we were able to move in. So that happened super quick. We looked at the place once. It was really nice. Like, it's not modern, but it wasn't super disgusting.
Mm.
And it had 3 bedrooms, which we were just like, that's like 1 bedroom more than what we need for $500 a week. That's pretty fantastic. And that it's 5 minutes away. Like, we get our space, but we're also not terribly far away from family.
The layover time from like when you heard about the house to when moving in,
it was like a week.
Was it? Yeah, I think it was
a week or 2 weeks or something like that.
I thought it was less than a week.
I can't remember, but it was very, very quick. Everyone was shocked because we had family dinner. And Rochelle's like, oh yeah, we're moving on Monday. I was like, what? What do you mean?
Maybe that's why, because I think it was less
we had
than
family dinner on a Thursday, by the way, so it's like Monday.
And they moved Monday, yeah.
And also during this time, everyone got sick with COVID. So
yeah, that was fun.
And I'm just like, everyone stay away from me. I don't want to get COVID. No. Like, I can't, no. So yeah, we moved on the Monday. Basically, no one could help. Only like Jonah could help.
I did have COVID still.
He had the mildest one out of everyone.
It was like the start of COVID.
Yeah. But Roger had it as well. And it was 35 degrees, I'm pretty sure.
It was so hot.
So they're both like sweating like crazy. Just 2 of them hauling things into a truck. I can't carry. I can't lift heavy things because I'm pregnant. But yeah, it was just such a chaotic day. And we moved in. And for some reason, there were like a lot of dead cockroaches. And we didn't see them before when we went to check out the place. It was a very quick inspection, but we looked into every room. There were no cockroaches or anything.
To be fair, because when I saw it, I was like, oh, they actually, they sprayed the house, which is a good thing. Like,
exactly.
It's a positive thing.
They're dead. They were dead. Yeah. So it's obviously they did something to get rid of them.
Yeah.
And they kind of just, and like everyone gets the odd cockroach here and there. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah. Well, when we get heaps in, we're pretty clean family.
Exactly. So. But we moved in, and that night we noticed in the kitchen that there were quite a few German cockroaches. Like maybe within 10 minutes you'd see 20 or something like that. Like it was insane. Anyway, we're just like, okay, maybe we just need to do an extra spray or whatever. By the way,
just if you don't know about cockroaches, German cockroaches are
the worst.
They are undefeatable.
They,
you know how how people say Germans are efficient? It talks about the cockroaches as well.
Yeah, they're small, and apparently they breed like crazy. So that's why. So getting rid of them is a bit difficult compared to the larger American cockroaches. So anyway, we went to sleep that night. In the morning, I think I had a little bit of allergies or something. So I went to the kitchen where Zyrtec was, and within the minute of me being in there, I had to kill maybe 10 of them. I was just like, okay, wow, that's a bit excessive. It was disgusting. They would just come out of nowhere and little cracks, and I'm like, what in the world? I told Roger, and Roger's like, okay, I'll contact the real estate and see if they can send an exterminator. So he did that, and throughout the day, I think Roger went back to work maybe that day, or he was helping me rearrange the house. But I opened the back screen door, and you could see cockroaches. When I opened it, they kind of rushed to hide inside the screen door where where you lock it and then it hooks in there. They were hiding in there. There were maybe 5 of them. I was like, what is happening? This is disgusting. So
this was on the Tuesday. You moved in Monday, Tuesday this happened. Yeah.
So we were just like, okay, obviously there is a real cockroach problem. But again, we'll wait for the real estate to get back to us. But yeah, the main place where the cockroaches were in the kitchen. So it was really kind of gross. And when we fully moved in, you could kind of tell that the place wasn't really maintained as well as you would think on first glance. So I was busy scrubbing every inch of the bathroom, the kitchen, especially the kitchen. And also when I was going through the kitchen, I could smell something. I was just I know this smell. What is it? I look under the kitchen sink. There's black mold all throughout underneath the kitchen sink.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that's disgusting. I knew I could smell something.
You guys, you have to understand as well, the inspection was during the day, and cockroaches and all that kind of stuff is they like to hide in the dark. They like
Yeah.
dark, warm places. So during the day, you're not going to see much anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So we were just like, that's disgusting. I sprayed it with vinegar. I don't do mold killer. Actually, bleach doesn't kill mold. It doesn't. It hides it. Use vinegar, white vinegar. Anyway, I won't get into that. But I sprayed it. And throughout the day, there were like more cockroaches and everything. I was like, this is disgusting. The following day, Roger went to work and I was like, I can't make breakfast in this house. This is disgusting. So I went out for breakfast with my daughter and I went out to breakfast and I also had a midwife appointment. But like these cockroaches are stressing me out. Like Roger actually doesn't even know this. I went to my appointment. I was 20 minutes late and they told me like, you're really late. We might not be able to like take you in. And I actually started crying. Like I'm usually really good at like holding in my tears and like controlling my emotions. But like this, I was just like, there's cockroaches in my house. Like this is disgusting. There's nothing I can do about it. And like, I'm late to my appointment. They may not be able to see me now. And like, I started crying, but like really slowly, like a slow weep. Cause I couldn't handle it. And yeah, I came home from the appointment. They were able to see me and everything. And the rest of the day kind of went on as normal, but I started to get kind of these bites on my legs and my legs were super itchy. On top of that, this was like one of the hottest weeks in like December. The aircon, you could put it on 17 degrees and it would still feel like 30 degrees. Like the aircon was terrible.
It was a small one, like the corner for.
No, it was like a normal one. Like
I mean, like it was a normal but small.
Yeah. But like you would still think it does something. Like you put on 17 degrees, it still felt like 30 degrees. So like, and I don't do well in the heat. I get really flustered and frustrated when I'm hot.
And you're pregnant, so
yeah. So it makes it like 10 times worse. Yeah. So I was getting like itchy on my legs. Like I started to get like maybe like 10, 15 bites. Bite marks, and it was just crazy. I was just like, what the heck is happening? And before I put my daughter to sleep, I saw this little like bug on her. I was like, what is that? I thought it was like an ant, like a really tiny ant. I'm like, what in the world? I like grabbed it, flicked it off her, and it left a little red mark. But she recovered from it really quickly. When I get bitten by insects,
stays there.
Oh gosh, it's so bad. I get super itchy. Like it gets not super swollen, but it's just, I don't recover quickly from it. I messaged Roger being like, I'm so itchy. Like I'm getting all these bites on my legs. I don't understand why. He comes home from work that night. I showed him my bites, like, and there's maybe like 25. Like I've gotten much more. He's like, what the heck is going on? That's so weird. We go to put our daughter to sleep and there's another bug on her. I'm just like, Roger, that's it. That's the thing I saw. He looks at it closely. He's like, oh my gosh, that's a flea. And we're like, what in the world? There are fleas in this house. Like straight away he calls your mom. He's like, there's fleas in this house. Your mom's like, get out of there. Yeah. Like literally, which is like, get out. He's like, Lauren's covered in bites on her legs. I actually think I like have some scars from like the bites. And yeah, basically we like grabbed what we needed, grabbed Ariel's bed, came here to sleep here. And actually before we left, Roger went to look under the house and he saw for like the entire like length of the house, just cockroaches with cockroach eggs, this insulation that's not actually like insulation's not meant to be there apparently when they build houses. I don't know how it works, but there was insulation there which can house the fleas. And I think that's where they were coming from because they were coming up from the floorboards. And yeah, we basically got out. I was stressing out of my mind because in my, like literally that night, I think I only slept 2-3 hours because all I kept thinking about was what is happening? This house is disgusting. There's cockroaches for days. There's fleas now. And like, it's just disgusting. I can't imagine. Like I already feel terrible and I know it's not my fault, but I already feel terrible bringing my kid into this house. I can't imagine even down the line bringing a newborn into this house.
Yeah. It's
yeah.
just to like stop you, like not stop
Yeah,
you, but it everything that happened prior to the bugs and everything, it felt like it was from God. Like everything
100%.
was like everything just fell into place. Like literally, my mom was just talking to the real estate agent, I think, and then the real estate agent is like, "I have a place for your son," like, and then it just like everything fell into place within a week. We're like, "Oh my gosh, this place!" I like when we were moving in, I was like, "Oh, this is actually really good for like what you're getting." So everything fell into place in our eyes, and I'm not. I mean, we can continue the story, but I don't necessarily think that it didn't fall into place.
No,
but we'll get to that anyway.
No, of course. But yeah, so we came here, and I think Roger heard back from the real estate the following day saying that, "Oh yeah, we're getting an exterminator," and I think Roger also let him know. He was just like, "Yeah, they're actually fleas as well." The real estate agent's like, "What in the world is happening?"
Wait, you saw kittens as well under the house as well?
I didn't. I think this was a little bit late, like down the week. Roger saw the kittens, which most likely is where the fleas came from.
Oh, we know where the fleas came from.
What?
The birds.
No, that's different.
Oh
yeah. So anyway, you'll hear about the birds in a second. Yeah. But
actual zoo in his house.
It's oh my gosh, it was just such a chaotic week for like everyone involved. It was just absolutely,
by the way, the whole family had, like our whole family had COVID.
Legit.
It was sort of clutch though, because I was sleeping in this room. This isn't my room, but I was sleeping in this room because I had COVID, and I was like, I don't really want to get my room diseased, and also I don't have an aircon in my room. I have an aircon in this room, so I was like, I'll sleep in here.
Yeah,
and then it was like perfect timing. Legit. I was like, I'll just take my room.
We slept in Jonah's room.
Yeah,
your bed is terrible, but
but you have no idea. I'm not like, it's like a V. I sleep like in a V shape.
But look, because Roger ended up sleeping down at number 9 halfway through the week. It is much more comfortable when you're sleeping by yourself.
Well, I usually sleep alone.
So, because you can just nestle yourself in that spot. But yeah, so like it was just a chaotic week. Roger talked to the real estate saying, yeah, there are fleas as well. And the real estate agent, because this is like around Christmas time, like everyone's busy. It's hard to get hold of services. So the real estate agent was saying, I'm really trying hard to get this guy to come, but he can only, like the earliest he can come is like this Sunday on the weekend. And I think this was like Thursday at this point. I think the landlord ended up organizing a different exterminator to come. And he was like, look, just do a general extermination, like for now. The exterminator came and met up with Roger to look at the house. The exterminator examined it and was like, this needs like a full kind of like full on hardcore, like you need to bomb the house, not and like flea bomb, not
flea bomb.
not anything other kind of bomb. But
it wouldn't work. Cockroaches can survive a nuclear war. So
lovely. Anyway, every time we see a cockroach now, even just like a little like
bug,
not even a bug, it could just be like a piece of fluff. We panic. It's so bad. But anyway, this exterminator, and apparently he was Lebanese as well. So like they bonded over that. He's like, don't worry, I'll look after you. Don't worry, you won't see a single insect or bug in this house. But the exterminator rang the landlord, told him the extent of the situation, and the landlord was like, no, just do a general one. And during this time, while the exterminator's on the phone, Roger notices a bird flying into the corner of the roof of the house. There's like a massive hole, which no one saw before, and a bird just flies into there. And Roger's like, oh my gosh, that's probably where the fleas are coming from. So we're like kind of freaking out. Roger tells me what the exterminator and like the landlord has said, and I told Roger, because I was thinking about it the entire night. I actually looked up our lease agreement and everything like that, and I was like, we need to get out of this house. Like, we cannot live here. And I fully understand where Roger was coming from when he's saying this, but he was just like, no, we are not leaving. We're going to sort it out. We're going to try it.
It was too perfect to like give up. Sort of like on paper, like the house was a really good house, $500. It was like on paper, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
So it's like, if we can deal with the situation, let's deal with it, because literally like it's perfect.
Yeah. And by the way, for me, if you don't know me, I'm a low tox kind of person.
Low tox.
I don't like chemicals. And like,
right.
I'm very careful and
yes,
like picky with like, so like if I can eat organic, I will.
Oh, yeah,
I know
yeah.
it's expensive, but like, that's why like I try to pick and choose.
I just didn't know what low tox meant, but
like low toxic.
Yeah.
So like my hand wash, I make my own hand wash. I make my own, what's it called? Multi-purpose spray and everything. So I know what's going into it. And I think I mainly went into that for the purpose of like family, and like having kids and everything like that. But yeah, so to me, the idea of flea bombing an entire house and having kids and bringing a newborn, and they're just like, you're covered for 3 months. I'm like, so the chemicals stay there for 3 months? Like, are you for real? Yeah. So to me, all of that was just like, oh my gosh. I mean, like, obviously it's better to get rid of the bugs. But again, in my mind, I was like, what in the world? And I'm going to bring a newborn into this. I can't do that. And also on top of this, we have a dog, and we luckily never brought Ivy to the house.
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
So
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, we were meant to bring our dog to the house, but then we figured out that there was actually like a gap where she could escape from. So we needed to fix that first. Her kennel was there, just empty. But yeah, we never brought the dog to the house, luckily. And yeah, anyway, so Roger's like, this is probably where the fleas came from. And I told Roger we need to leave this house. We can't stay here. And he didn't want to pay for another truck, which again is understandable because it's not cheap. And he's like, look, we'll sort this out and it will be fine. And I was like, no, because if the landlords know the extent of the situation and they don't want to fix it, if anything happens down the line, which this is already crazy, something will happen down the line, I can guarantee they will not be helpful and they will make it stressful for us. I don't want that stress when I have to look after a newborn.
Yeah.
That's just too stressful for me. And yeah, Roger also had to work on the property that he owns as well. It's investment property. So he was super busy. He's trying to figure out our rental situation. He's trying to figure out his property. Because like they had to repaint it and everything. And obviously like Jeanette's not going to paint it. And Jeanette owns it with him.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he was like flat out. His brain's all over the place. He still has COVID. And I'm talking to him about this.
He doesn't have a place to live as well.
Yeah. That's the funniest thing. I told him as well. I'm like, isn't it funny how we have so many places we could live, but we're basically homeless right now.
You're living in my room.
Yeah. Anyway. So yeah, I was just trying to discuss this with him, and I didn't want to be like that pushy kind of annoying wife, but I was so like, in my mind, there was no other way. I was like, this is, and I think it mainly came from like a mother kind of perspective. Because if it was just us, I'm just like, okay, yeah, we can deal with it. We're adults, whatever. It's gross, it's annoying, but we can deal with it. But having to deal with kids in the mix, and especially young kids, my mind could not, like I couldn't fathom it. And I was so stressed to the point where I went down to our old our old house, so the granny flat, because everything's in the street basically. I went to our granny flat. It was empty, and I sat in there and I cried for basically 3 hours straight. And usually I can stop myself from crying. Like I'm just like, okay, it's fine. But like I just couldn't stop myself. It was that intense to me, like in my heart of like how I felt, that I literally could not. And I'm just like, I want to move back here. I just want to go back to normal kind of thing. And also there was just a discussion of where we were going to live, if we would possibly to move back. And a lot of people, I know their hearts were in the right place, were just like, don't move back into the granny flat because that's taking a step backwards. But to me, I was just like, look, we didn't plan for this to happen. So to me, it's not a step backwards. It's just taking time to kind of like reassess. And it's not like we're moving into a small place that's different. It's a place that we know and we're comfortable with and we can work around. So yeah, anyway, that was stressful. The following day, Roger and your mom were talking and they were talking and they were talking about like the extermination process and everything. And your mom was saying like, look, because again, I think everyone knew, like in my head, I'm like, poison, kids kind of thing. And everyone was trying to like reassure me, like, it's fine. Like,
we searched like how long does this last?
Yeah,
and all that
like
stuff.
how long until you can move back in?
We literally Roger literally called like exterminators asking like if they do this, how long is it? It's like a few hours.
Exactly. And I'm just there being like, no, it's going to be forever. But basically your mom was just like, actually know someone who's like, he's a friend. He will tell us like the truth and everything. He won't just try to be like a business perspective. And he does like extermination. Calls this guy, and he's just like, oh yeah, fleas, German cockroaches, easy. You'll be back in within a few hours. And she's like, oh, okay. So, he's like, I think he asked like, do you know where the fleas are coming from? And then your mom was talking about the bird. He's like, oh, there's a bird in the roof. And she was like, yeah. He's like, okay, well, fleas can't come from birds. Fleas stay near the ground. Do you know if the birds have bird lice? And she's like, what do you mean bird lice? He's like, look, if you have birds, you most likely have bird lice. And bird lice are incredibly difficult to get rid of. I wouldn't do it as an exterminator. I wouldn't do it. I did it once. I lost money on it because of how difficult it is. You can't see bird lice. Fleas you can see, cockroaches you can see. They're very easy to get rid of. He said even German cockroaches, you can deal with that easy. Bird lice? Absolutely not. So we were just like, oh, okay. So not only are there German cockroaches and also 2 other types of cockroaches. There's like the really super tiny ones. I don't know what they are. And the American cockroaches, there's fleas. We now possibly have bird lice. Most likely have bird lice.
And kittens under the house.
Yeah. So kittens are probably where the fleas are from.
Yeah.
Bird lice from birds, obviously. So yeah, he was just like, yeah, you most likely have bird lice. I would just leave. And Roger was telling a lot of his friends about the situation and a lot of them were saying, leave. And Roger's like, no, but like, he was really holding on to the fact that we could like fix it and everything.
Yeah.
He called a few other exterminators, told them about the bird thing, and they were just like, leave. Like the exterminators are telling us, leave this property. Like, do not bother.
He's a stubborn boy.
Yeah. But like I completely understand where he's coming
like I said,
from.
It's like a perfect house.
Yeah,
apart
exactly.
From obviously the fleas
exactly.
And
like and again, we thought it was from God. Because everything fell into place. So basically, Roger finally said, okay, fine, we will leave. And there was a whole, again, discussion about where to move into. I won't get into that. But basically, we ended up saying we will move back into where we were living before. But we will just rearrange the space because when we first moved in, it was just us two. It's a 2-bedroom. We didn't need the second bedroom as a bedroom. So that was our lounge room. So now we've configured it to actually use 2 bedrooms as bedrooms. But yeah, so we organized to move back into there. The whole thing happened. We left. We moved back in. And it was also raining, like pretty heavy the day we moved back in. Because we were looking at, oh, maybe we'll do it like the following day when it's not raining. The forecast said it was raining basically all week. It only rained on that day.
Yeah.
Like the following day didn't rain. We were just like, what is happening? Like the first move was like a 35-degree day. This second move back into the space is just raining. A lot of the stuff is covered in mud. I still haven't cleaned the couch. I really need to. I vacuumed like the dirt when it dried, but I haven't deep cleaned it yet because it's just so much effort.
Yeah.
Anyway, we moved back in and you would think like, oh yeah, that's the end of the story. But that night, I think it was, that we moved back in. And I think a lot of people
She saw some fleas.
No, actually, we did see. We did. Actually. We moved back in. And I think when you guys were in the process of moving like some of the furniture, I looked at my daughter and she had a flea on her neck. And I told Roger, he's like, okay, we're flea bombing the house. Because we got the,
you had to anyway.
The general flea bombs that you just get from like the supermarket.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? Look, fine, whatever. In my head, I'm just like, ugh. But I prefer like, not to be eaten by fleas. Get rid of them. And so flea bombed the house that night. We stayed here. And then, the following day, we basically moved back in. I thought there was going to be a smell because like even when I was looking everything up, they're just like, you want the fumes to be out. There was no smell or anything. So I'm like, okay, that's all right. It's not that bad. But that night that we actually stayed in the house, I told Roger to get something from the car. And he was like, okay, no, I'll get it later when we put our daughter to sleep. And he went after she fell asleep. He went outside to get something from the car. I can't remember what it was. It's something like insignificant as well. He comes back inside the house and he's like, do you know what I just saw outside? I was like, what? I'm like, oh my gosh, no, it's going to be like a cockroach or something. He's like, no, I saw an owl and I haven't seen an owl in a very long time. Now, to put this into context, people will probably just like, okay, it's a bird. It's like, whatever, it's a bird, not another bird. We occasionally get owls in the street, like on the, what is it?
The electric line?
Yeah, the electric wires on the
what
post.
Are they called? It doesn't matter, but it's going to annoy me.
Those wires. We'll talk about it later.
That's what I mean.
I think it's just electrical wires.
Is it?
Maybe.
I don't know.
But yeah, we occasionally get them every now and again. But like Roger said, I mean, I haven't seen one in a while. He hasn't seen one in a while. But Roger has this thing, like owls aren't his favorite bird, but they are one of his favorites. Everyone's just like, oh my gosh, he loves owls. Like he does, but falcons are his favorite bird, his favorite animal, I think. But whenever he sees an owl, he thinks it's a blessing. And I used to make fun of him all the time. I'm just like, it's a blessing. Like, it's a bird. What are you talking about? But the fact that Roger sees it as a blessing, he hasn't seen it in a long time. And just the timing of it. Like, he could have gone to get something from the car earlier when I asked him. But he was like, no, I'll get it later. Like, I don't think that owl would have been sitting there for like years to like being like, I'm here, Roger. Like, it was just at that time. And he was like, I haven't seen one in ages. And in my head, I'm like, okay, we know that this is where we're meant to be. Out of everything that's happened, that's just insane. This is where we're meant to be here. We don't know why. We don't know what God has in plan. But obviously he has something and we just need to trust in him. And I think that's been a huge thing for me especially because honestly last year, it was a pretty tough year. And like for me, like when I have like something that's challenging my life, I think I'm pretty good at like getting through it. I forget the word. It's not persistent, but I think it starts with a P.
Perseverance.
Kind of, yeah. Like
I don't know.
I can't remember the word, but like I'm pretty good at handling things. And it doesn't weigh too heavy on me. But from like mid-year, things like thing after thing just kept happening and it was starting to weigh really heavy on me. And I'm just like, what is happening? Why is this happening? And also mid-year was when I found out I was pregnant as well, which I have fairly easy pregnancies. According to my 2 pregnancies so far, I don't really throw up or anything like that. My nausea is like super mild. I'm pretty mobile still. But like thing after thing kept happening. Like I had a family thing that happened mid-year and that was pretty massive for our life. And it was something that's like, I feel like it was overdue to happen, which we can touch on that in a bit later. But yeah, and then Roger's work dry spell and like he was freaking out. Even your dad was saying to him like, oh, it's fine. Like just trust God and everything. And I think it's one thing to say, trust God. It's a very easy thing to say. But when it comes to fully actually trusting and putting your complete faith in him that he will work in the way that he needs to, putting that into practice is very difficult, especially living in the Western world. So yeah, there was just so many things. And to finally kind of get that at the end with like the owl. I know it seems so weird and trivial, but it's just like, it's a blessing. God's working. We just need to trust in him. Like, we probably needed to go through this really crazy, chaotic week for God to be like, hello, trust me, it's fine. Like, I've got you. Because we were, no matter what we were doing, even when we read our Bibles, even when we prayed, we probably just weren't putting our full trust and faith in him. So if it's my testimony, that's where I'm at the moment.
How were you prior to, how was your relationship with God and all of those, like everything that comes with that prior to that week?
I think it was pretty, it's pretty baseline. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't like, it could 100% be better. For me, I kind of go through like phases of reading my Bible. I'm so terrible. The thing is with me, I so terribly, desperately need routine in my life, but I'm very bad at getting routine in my life. They say, and I don't know, like scientifically, it takes this many days to build a habit. For me, that doesn't work. Like, I could do that for that many days. I fall off one day, it's completely in the gutter. So yeah, it wasn't bad, but like the whole thing, I think this is something that's, I wouldn't say unique about me, like to make me sound good or anything, but it's not something you see very common in people. I will always hold God in the place of, he is God. He can do whatever the heck he wants. I know a lot of people say like, oh, like I get angry at God. Like, why are you doing this, God? Like, I question him and everything. For me, the way I see him is just like, I could question him in a way that's like, I don't understand what you're doing, but I'm not going to challenge him in a sense. He is God. Like, he is king. He's creator. Like, really, he can do whatever he wants. And I need to accept it. And it's very hard, obviously, as humans, because we're sinful and everything. We don't fully comprehend the way God works, no matter how much we dig into it. But yeah, so I think that's something that's always been helpful for me, to know that God is sovereign, he's omniscient, he's omnipresent, he's all this stuff. So like in the end, it will be fine. But yeah, again, something I've always struggled with is reading my Bible and getting closer to him. And like, I'm kind of the opposite. I was telling Jonah before how I was listening to Roger's episode because our daughter's just been like, Jonah pod. And she wanted to listen to Roger's episode. And when Roger was talking about knowledge and all that kind of stuff, I'm kind of the opposite in that, where it's just like, I know knowledge is good, but I am terrible with it. And I think it comes with just the person I am as well. Not that I don't want to be knowledgeable, but I struggle to retain knowledge. And I think, honestly, just to touch on like mental health in an aspect, I think it's got to do with, I don't know 100%, but this is just from like my kind of, I'm someone who researches a lot. So obviously I don't know everything as much as a professional, but like I kind of have a gauge on like how things work in this realm. I feel like the reason why I struggle to retain not just knowledge, but just like, not memories, just retain information,
sure,
in a sense, is probably some kind of like trauma when I was like growing up. I won't dig too much into it, but I think because of that, my brain's kind of just like, it doesn't work at its full capacity. And I'm okay with that in a sense, but again, when it comes to like learning more about God and like my knowledge of the Bible and everything, I could read something and be like, wow, that's really cool. I didn't know that. And then the next week I'll forget it entirely and be like, what in the world did I read? Or I could like remember it for a few months, but like it will fall out of my brain pretty quickly. So Yeah. I don't know how we got to that point.
Okay, that's fine. I asked how you were doing prior to the house.
Yeah.
This is it's an extremely random question, but how have your friendships been from
Friendships.
from like even primary school, high school?
Friendships have always been a weird thing to me. When I was younger, I was a tomboy. So, and I think this is something that I've always kind of experienced, but I prefer to hang out with guys. And I think it comes down to the fact that, no offense, and like whatever, feminism, men, literally, they're less problematic. Like, I'm being completely honest. And I think as a person, I get really overwhelmed easily. So because, and it's not a terrible thing. Men or women are meant to be different, but because women have higher emotions, greater emotions and everything, for me, this is something that I'm like pretty similar with Roger on. I do run on logic a bit more than I would say than the average woman. Again, sorry, women, but I do kind of have like those both sides where it's like, yes, there is emotion, but logically, does your emotion match what is actually happening? And if it doesn't, like, then sure, you can feel what you feel, but it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't make sense, and it's unfair that you would put that onto other people. So I think growing up, friendships were a little bit difficult because I remember I think I was in like year 2 or year 3. There were a group of girls that I would hang out with, as you do. But I had some guy friends as well. And year 2 and year 3, like what I was like 9 or something, younger than that. I don't know.
Probably younger, yeah.
But pretty young to be like, hey, I have friend groups of different genders, especially back in like our day.
Yeah.
Back in our day.
Far out.
No, I feel like these days it's more common to have like a mixture of like genders, like male, female. I don't know.
Mixture of genders in one person.
True. True. But there was this one lunchtime, literally it was just one lunchtime. I went to hang out with one of my guy friends. Like, there's nothing to it. We just wanted to hang out, play in the playground, whatever. The group of girls that I usually hung out with were so upset with me. They were like telling me off and everything. Like, we went year 2 or year 3, like whatever, man. In my head, I'm just like, why? Like, he's my friend. Like, why can't I hang out with him? And I think that's something that I kind of grew up in, and like, I don't know. I found it really difficult to get along with other girls at times. But I did always have like at every point in my high school, kind of not high school, just schooling life, there was always like a core group of girls I would hang out with. But yeah, friendships have always been kind of weird to me, especially when my parents did get divorced. Again, that was like a really huge, pivotal time in my life. And I think it was really prevalent. Is that the word?
Yeah.
When I was in year 11 and year 12. Because in year 11 and year 12, it's kind of like everyone knows, hey, in a couple of years, school's going to be finishing. We're not going to really see each other. So it kind of becomes this thing where people tend to hang out more. But also, since coming to church from year 9, the friend groups kind of started changing and everything. Because the core group of friends that I hung out with in primary school followed into year 7, year 8. And then year 9 is like everyone kind of like started splitting off. My best friend at the time moved to Whoop Whoop. So like, and there was, in our group, there was 6 of us, and everyone kind of like had their best friend, but we're still like a group of friends. So for me, for my best friend to leave, I was kind of the odd one out now. But yeah, everything started getting a bit weird. Like my friend left, my parents got divorced. And in year 11 and 12, I don't know, things were just really, it was just a really weird time for me. And I became super secluded. Like, people would like make Facebook events to be like, hey, we're going out to this place or whatever. And I would always decline. Not because I was busy, not because I had anything on, just because I was just like, it freaked me out to be with that many people for some reason. And I think as well, and this isn't to blame anyone from our church necessarily, but the culture of women in our church really wasn't the greatest. There was always, I think, some form of like, and I think everyone felt this, but it was just kind of like one of those underlying, we don't talk about it kind of things. I think everyone always felt like there was another girl judging them.
Right.
There was this huge kind of, and like when it came to like mentors, we didn't really have that many women to look up to. We had a few people, but like, again, they were really busy in their lives. And I don't know, the culture of women versus men in our church was so different. Like, again, when you listen to like Roger's episode, when he's talking about how you guys like always do Bible studies and everything like that, I think the women had like, we tried to do Bible studies so many times and every single time it failed. I think I had like 5 Bible studies that I went to, and they were all like, it consisted of the same group of women, but they were always kind of like a new Bible study. It wasn't like, hey, we're continuing on. It was just always different. Hey, we're really trying to get something started. Yeah. For some reason, it just never worked. So yeah, I think the only person that really I clung to was Naomi. And again, like to this day, like she's one of my best friends.
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe it's because she grew up with brothers. So, and like for me, I grew up.
You guys literally like grew up opposite lives.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. I grew up all women.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. I feel like I related to her the most because she is probably in the same kind of mindset as me, where she does actually use her logic, and not purely emotion. But on top of that, and especially nowadays, as she's like grown, she has a very like, whenever I have an issue and I like talk to her about it, she brings up the Bible as well. She has a biblical base on everything. It's like, okay, well, this is how like we're meant to do it as Christians, how we're meant to solve these issues. So it's like, I know I can like talk to her about something and she won't put like a bias of like emotion or anything into it. She could come at it from a logical sense of point of view, like just as general thing, but she will bring in the Bible as well. Yeah. Which everyone needs people like that in their lives. And I think that is something that I've really needed, but have lacked massively because again, just women in general. Like I'm not trying to be like, ugh, women. I am a woman. But generally you see women putting too much of their emotion into something that it becomes volatile. And for me, I think with the experiences in my life, I can't handle that. And if something is too chaotic, too volatile, I don't even dare to go near it. I shut down, which of course is something I need to work on. And I have been working on. It's difficult, but yeah. It's
the reason why I asked about friendships. It's a weird one because obviously I know, I want to say, I don't know most, or I don't know what I know about your life, but I know like
no one knows anything because I don't say anything. Let's be honest.
Like I know quite a bit about like the generics of your life, and it seems like you've always been around broken relationships, whether
100%.
Yeah, so that's so you've been around broken families, broken whatever. We won't go into that, but
I don't mind going into it, but like
no, it's interesting to me because I know like I have friends that also come from broken families, and every sort of everything around them is broken, like all their relationships, and it's like sort of self-sabotaging in like if there was to be a relationship to be there,
they would break it off before anything could happen because there's that fear of the unknown.
So my question, I guess, to you is I've seen you with my brother, obviously, and I've heard some of the stuff that you've both been through and all that kind of stuff. What sort of helped you endure like the relationship, even through those trials, even like with all the broken relationships you've been in?
Yeah.
Why, like, how did it continue?
I think a huge thing was when Roger and I actually started to get to know each other before we started dating. And I think this is why we work so well together. I think because, again, I've been around so many broken relationships, broken family, yada, yada. When I started talking to Roger, he was kind of like the only person that I spoke to that was like, there's no nonsense. It is what it is. What you get from Roger is what you get. And we kind of really got along in that sense. There was just no rubbish whenever we spoke. And I think that's something he appreciated about me as well, and probably didn't expect since he has had experience with my family as well. I think that's a lot of people don't expect that from me. Like, I am a huge people pleaser. Huge. It's very terrible. And I don't want to be a people pleaser. But if you are close to me, I won't really give you any like nonsense. Like, I'll just say what it is. And even sometimes, like, even nowadays in our relationship with me and Roger's like, you're so rude. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just saying, like, this is what it is. And like, if you're offended by it, like, I can't do anything to help you. If
you're offended by it, listen to the previous podcast.
True, yes. I haven't even listened to it yet. I just know that's the basis of being offended or something. But what was I talking about again? Being broken, enduring through that. I think getting married as well. I got married when I was 21, which it sounds crazy, I know, especially for this day and age, people getting married in their 30s. I'm the opposite to Ralph. When he was just like, I took my time. I was just like, no, I'm getting married at 21, which is actually kind of weird because I kind of always had this sense I was going to get married young. I wasn't pursuing it, but it kind of just, like, it all happened. I remember in one PDH class, you know how we always got like these workbooks that I'm pretty sure the school made them. There was one question. I think you had to fill like a questionnaire about yourself. There was one question about what age limit, like, would you get married? Like, what's the youngest? Such a random question, PDH. Like, what the heck? I wrote 19. I honestly, for me, when I think I was like 16 at the time. Like, I didn't even think, oh, that's 3 years time. Like, what in the world? I just thought, 19 is probably the youngest I would get married. And I got engaged at 21, got 20. I got married at 21. It kind of all just happened.
Yeah.
But I think for me, I needed that to grow personally. I know a lot of people, like, generally when you go to like look towards marriage, you should probably find out who you are yourself and like your personality, what you're like, who you want to be before you get married. But I think with the situation I was in, looking back on it now, I couldn't do that. So I needed to get married. It's not why I got married, obviously, but again, in the grand scheme of things, getting married at 21 really helped me to pursue and figure out who I am for myself. And Roger, again, being the no like nonsense kind of person he is, that really helped because, again, he wouldn't put any bias, he wouldn't put any emotion. Again, he does have some emotion, but he is pretty, like, everyone knows him as really hard-hearted. But yeah, I think that really helped, and it's something that I needed because growing up, everything was based on emotion and it didn't make sense. So having that was very good for me, to figure out who I was, to figure out and understand fully, like, not what I believed. I always kind of knew what I believed. But yeah, I think that helped for me in my sense of like enduring everything. But I was going to say something else. I can't exactly remember.
I don't know.
Yeah, you can't really help. You can't read my mind. But just like, again, personality wise, oh yeah, this is something weird. I haven't told this to anyone because it's not something you really share with people. But
You're sharing on a podcast.
yeah, honestly, this is the type of person I am. I'm like, I either don't share anything or I share too much, which honestly is why, part of the reason why I don't share often, because I know I can be a blabbermouth. I can keep talking and talking and talking and then realize, oh, wait, I probably should not have said that.
Sorry, power of editing.
No one will know at all. No, but like, I don't know. I feel like something about this podcast, or just a podcast and like stuff like this in general, it can be kind of therapeutic. And because, again, I am the type of person that doesn't really share about my life very often, I think this is a way to get people to understand the type of person I am without it being too confronting to me. Because, again, I'm terrible with confrontation. I shut down and, yeah. Anyway. Whenever like I'm kind of going through like, I won't say depression. I have gone through depression, but just a time in my life, a period in my life where I feel down, or if I'm in a moment where I'm just like in tears and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I don't know what's happening, whatever. I have kind of two minds in that kind of scenario. I'm not psychotic. I don't have split personality or anything, but and like maybe, honestly, maybe it's the Holy Spirit, because it's pulled me out of a lot of dark times, because there are some times I'm just like, I can't handle this. I just like, I physically, mentally, everything just feels like it's falling apart. I just don't know what I'm doing. It just feels like I'm being crushed completely. And in that moment, I'm just like, I don't know what to do. But then for some reason, somehow, this kind of logical side comes out and my brain kind of just switches, just like, no, like everything's fine. This might be difficult, but you're going to get through it. And like God is with you. And so like, I don't know, maybe it is the Holy Spirit trying to like help me out there. But yeah, I've kind of always had these like two mindsets. And sometimes it feels like the emotional kind of side is very overpowering and everything. But somehow I always get pulled out of it. And it's not something that I can fully explain. It's very, very odd.
Usually if you can't explain it, it's God related.
Yeah, honestly. Because yeah, like usually people are just like, I'm either upset and emotional or like my brain is all there. But like in times like that, like both can happen for me.
All right, so we are back. I mean, literally we haven't left for you, but yeah, we may have been gone a bit too deep than things that can't be shared online.
Shouldn't be.
Shouldn't
it can be, but it shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be. But I wanted to bring this topic to you because, I mean, you told me to bring it up. No, so in your testimony and everything you have said so far, there's been a lot of, like, literally most of your situations have been family involved. And you say you have, I'm going to say it like this, but the way I heard it was like you have some hot takes on family and like how it should go and be, sort of thing.
Yes.
So I'd love to hear it.
Okay. Well, I said this to you and I think you were like, what the heck? I don't know. That was just my impression of your reaction.
I didn't.
It wasn't a huge reaction, but it was still like, for you, it was like pretty like interesting. For me, and again, this is obviously informed by the experiences I have had in my life with family, but family is not everything. It is not the end all be all. And I know a lot of people are just like, oh my gosh, but it's family. Like, come on, family. I completely disagree with that kind of notion. Is it important? 100% it's important. But the pedestal that people put it on is too high. And to me, it's a bit ridiculous. For me, the way I see it is that people put it on a pedestal, so much so that from a Christian kind of point of view, they put it in the place of God. And sorry, excuse me. I'm not crying. I just reflux.
It's okay. You're pregnant. You have an excuse. For me, I don't have an excuse.
No, but like people put it on a pedestal, and it's to the point where it replaces God. And of course, anything that's an idol and replaces God, it's not good. But usually when we see like idols in our life, it's like, oh, it's like a celebrity. It's like gaming or whatever. It's things that can be like kind of, you can remove it and you'll survive. Whereas family is just like, but family is good. Family is important. Family should be looked with value and everything like that. And yeah, it should be. But if you put it in the place of God, which I think a lot of people do without realizing it, it's not good. It is terrible because, and this is actually something I've learned from Roger, and he mainly sees it, has said it from a point of view like when you get a partner or whatever. So I guess it kind of fits in family. But when you put something else other than God, for example, family, in the place of God, it won't turn out well because God is perfect and he can't fail. Whereas you're putting all your faith and trust into something that will fail, that will be broken, but you're expecting it to be perfect and not be broken. So I guess maybe because I've had all these experiences of family, and like a lot of my family experiences are just broken in general. So maybe I have a bit of an edge in that because I've had this. But particularly, and maybe this is not so much like biblically based, but when it comes to like blood family, I feel like people put so much pressure on that it doesn't break the other person if anything happens to them. It breaks them if something happens. And it becomes like a whole big deal because, again, it's family. Like family is a big deal. And for me, I think I've found a lot of family in my life, like the family that I find like mostly important. And this is not to have a dig at anyone. It's just being honest about my life. The people that I have found to be family the most are people who are not blood related to me. Because the thing is as well, like, you could have family, say that it's important, but like every person is an individual. You can't control their actions. You can't control their thoughts, the way they respond to things. So if you have like a particular outcome that you would like, even if they're family, they can screw you over whenever the heck they want, just because that's how they are. That's their personality. Maybe that's how they were raised. I don't know. But yeah, so yeah, I've always found that like family is a tricky topic for me, because especially as well being married into an Arab family is everything. Like you stick your neck out for family no matter what. But yeah, the thing is, from my experience, people won't stick your neck out for you even when you do it for them. Even if you say, we are family, we're related. I've personally been screwed over so many times, shown that I don't really matter. But they will give the excuse of, but we're family, as like a way to manipulate and kind of as a fail-safe to make you feel like you're the one that's in the wrong or whatever. So yeah, I don't agree with the weight that society puts on family. Maybe not society. I mean, society's changed a lot when it comes to the value of family.
This is more like Christians, I think you're referring to.
Yeah, I think so.
Because the society has a different...
there is no such thing as family in society.
Yeah, it's broken.
But I think as well, like, that's part of the reason why it's so confusing. Because, yes, there is value in family, but within, like, the individuals within a family, they look for their worth not from God. They look for their worth from what the world tells them. And the world tells them to look after themselves and only themselves. It's a very self-seeking world.
Mm.
And when you have that, you can't really have a functioning family, really. And it does kind of get a bit messy when it comes to like mental health and that kind of thing. Like that's something I debate with myself on a lot, because to me, mental health is very real. But if you look at it from a perspective of what the world is telling you, that's rubbish.
Mm.
Do you need to look after yourself? Yes. But are you the most important thing in the world? Absolutely not.
Yeah. Can I ask?
Yes.
So if you were to put if you were to write like a hierarchy of importance in life, what it should be,
Oh,
not for you, but what it should be.
In general.
Or would you, for a Christian, let's say?
Oh gosh, that's a lot of pressure. Just like general. Well, obviously God is number one.
Mhm.
Like there's no debate about it.
Yeah.
Will he always be number one? No, because we are failures. But God has to be number one. And the thing is, I would say, family's maybe second. Like it is, like I know that there is value and importance in family, but I feel like
I'll help you.
Yeah.
The closeness from God and family, we put it much closer than it should be.
Yes,
like it
100%.
should. To be honest, there shouldn't even be a second, third, fourth. Like it should just be God, like on His own list.
Yeah. And then there's some other things like that come after
friends and
whatnot, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, I get what you're saying. I'm just trying to clarify for whoever's listening.
Yeah.
It
I know a lot of people are going to be like, this woman doesn't care about family. How dare you?
It could be taken it as I guess inconsiderate or something like that. Yeah. Or even they might say, oh, she's just her. She doesn't know what she's talking about, sort of thing.
Trust me. Again, I put logic into things. Like logically, it makes sense.
Yeah.
But like when I talk about this, it's because we live in a broken world that this value of family. Oh my gosh, why I keep saying family? The value of family is just not what it should be. Like,
yeah. I'm gonna just argue against you for the sake of it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just to create conversation. Do you think it should be like? Do you think it should? How do I even word this question? So you're saying we value family too much.
Yeah.
But do you think it shouldn't be like we value family this much? Or do you think the problems within the family are causing the value to be too high? my brain. It works in my brain.
I'm like, I understand what you mean, but at the same time, I don't.
No. Like, I'll try and word it better. So you're saying we value family too highly, and that's because inside families, it's just individuals broken, and like each individual can be like very like the way I see it is selfish or self-sensitive, and whatever. And you're saying from that we value family too high because family can be broken. My question is, are we valuing family too high? Is that where our focus should be on, or is the focus should the focus be on inside that value of the issues of the value? The issues of the
drink every time he says value.
Yeah, like of the family, because I think biblically, maybe some people, but for me, the way I value family is very high, but it should be that high. The issue is when I say inside that value, I mean like inside the family sort of value
dynamic.
So we have the value of family, and inside that value, where that's when each individual comes in and like
has their personal kind of like beliefs of what entails, what value entails.
All right, so we have God. I feel like I'm confusing. We have God that has infinite value, and he should have that value because he's worth that value.
Yep.
Well, then we have family somewhere down here, but in second place, I would say, that should have a lot of value. And again, it depends who you are and where you come from. But let's say, like my family, your family now. I think we value family pretty highly, and maybe it's because of culture, but also biblically, I think we should value family this much.
Yeah.
But so just like God has infinite value as he should, and it's because he's worth that value. My question is my statement. I don't know what it is. What I'm trying to say is the value of family. I think it should have this value, but it's currently it's not worth that value because of the content inside.
Yeah.
This whole time I was trying to say that.
Yeah, basically, yes.
But my question is, shouldn't we be focusing on the content inside rather than the value of it being too high?
Yes. And I think that's my point. People are focusing way too much on like, oh, but we're family. Like, this has to work because we're family, where it's just like, you're not focusing on the actual real issue at hand. And I think that's where it comes to like personal relationships. Personal relationships is what makes up a family. Doesn't matter if you're related by blood or not or whatever. Like, even like in a church family, like a church family is not going to function if the people within that aren't getting along, and if they have different views, kind of thing. There's actually, I don't know if you've heard of them. You might have. Jess and Gabe on YouTube. Their YouTube is there. She's Aussie, but she married him American. They live in America now. They're Christians, and they actually, I think they started doing it maybe last year or something because they had a kid, and they actually had a family meeting. It was kind of like structured like work kind of meeting, but they actually did this thing where they came together and they're like, okay, let's talk about what our mission is as a family, our values, like what we believe as a family, and like what we like our aim kind of thing. And that's usually stuff you see in like a workplace. Yeah. But I'm just like, that's actually such a good thing, because I feel like so many people, they're just like, again, they generically throw around the word family, but we don't have that same kind of view of family. And again, a lot of it doesn't work because people are broken, and it's not necessarily their fault, because we live in such a broken world. Like, it's inevitable. But I think, especially as Christians, something that people lack is, I think the word is, I looked it up before, introspection, where it's like where you're constantly reflecting on yourself and your actions and what you believe. And that's, again, where the whole like emotion and logic thing comes in for me. I feel like I don't want to talk myself up, but I do pride myself on being pretty introspective. And I'm able, personally, I think I'm able to look outside of myself a lot of the time when I'm in a situation. I say like, I know this is how I feel about the situation, but like when you see it from when you stand back and look at it as a whole, what's actually happening and what is my role in that? I think I'm pretty good at that. But I think that's a skill that a lot of people lack, and that's why families are broken and it just doesn't work. And again, it's hard to say it from a Christian perspective, because especially being a Christian who, I'm just going to say it, like, I don't talk to my blood family, like any of them. And it sucks, but it came to a point where I was just like, this is something that like introspectively, I don't want to say like, it's not my problem. Like, I've done what I can. I did what I can to try and help the issue, but people obviously don't have the same values as what I do when it comes to family. And like, that tension to me is just, it's not worth it anymore. And it's, again, toxic, that thing of like toxicity and like toxic people. Like, it's annoying because it is kind of like trendy to be like, oh my gosh, I cut off that toxic person. But there is an element of truth to it. And yeah, if people in your family don't see family in the same way that you do, it becomes messy, it becomes extra broken. And yeah, it also depends again, like on how you see yourself and like how highly you value yourself. Because a lot of times when I've heard this so many times, when I'm talking to a family member, they are disagreeing with what I'm saying, their fail-safe again is, but we're family. And it's like, that doesn't matter. If you're going to act in this way that's selfish, like, I'm not going to stand for that. Like, just because we're family, I'm not going to be like, oh, that's okay, you can be selfish, you can do whatever you want, you can walk all over me like a doormat. Like, no, I'm not going to stand for that. And then people are just like, oh, you don't like family, you don't value family. It's like, I do, but obviously our values are different and it just doesn't work, kind of thing.
So I think I agree with you. I'm just, I think you're, and it makes sense too, you're giving like extreme sort of scenarios.
Oh yeah. Because I have been in extreme scenarios.
I know. But I'm sort of thinking for the viewer and like for conversation's sake, please be honest as well. Don't worry about me or my family. But I will ask you: do you think, for context for the people that are watching, my family, we're not perfect, but
no one's perfect.
We do value family. I think people like the women in my family are more vocal about being having value of the family, but I think we all hold sort of similar value.
Yeah.
And like we do dinners like every 2 weeks and whatnot. Do you think we value family too much?
Maybe some people, but not in a way like, again, it's not in that sense where it's just like, you shouldn't value family. What is family? Family. Value. Family.
We're saying value and family way too much. It's coming one word.
Yes. Not in the sense that they should stop valuing family as much as they do, but maybe change their perspective on it, if you get what I mean.
Not quite. Change perspective.
I don't want to be too specific.
Yeah, probably don't. Let me try. Like, so you're saying their value for it is good, like the love that they have for it, but the sort of the way they're going about it is like, it's not.
Especially when things seem to supposedly crumble. We don't look at the root of the issue anymore. It's just like, let's just put a blanket over it and be like, we're family. Like, yeah. Look,
this is where I agree, but I also have to sort of disagree. I obviously don't put a blanket over anything, but I think this is outside of family, but especially in a family. This is why I value family over friends, because like I'll do the same thing for family and friends, but for my family, I think it's to like a bigger sort of extent. And it's literally just, for me, if there's like, I don't care what kind of situation a family member is in, like I'm going to help you out. And by the way, when I say family, I'm not saying like you were saying the extreme of like we're blood related, but realistically we're not family sort of thing. I think that's like the best way I put it in my head. We're blood related, but not family. When in this context, I'm talking about blood related and family, as in like we are still together. We are a family. What they're saying. So with family compared to friends, same thing, but family is more prominent. Is literally no matter what situation, I would like sacrifice everything to like help you get out of that situation. And like literally I'll cut off my leg if you need a leg, like that kind of extent.
You stick out your neck for your family.
And I think sometimes like if I were to do that or whatever it is, and I think most of the family would do that, maybe some more than others. Sometimes that can be a bit overbearing, or be like you're just trying to maybe throw a blanket over the issue. But the issue is like, I don't know, like someone cut off my leg, something like you said, but I'm trying to give you a solution for that. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So the issue is someone just cut off my leg, but the solution that I'm thinking of, like, take my leg.
Wow, we're just cutting off limbs here.
Yeah, but like you know what I'm trying to say. The issue is that someone
it's
just
like,
did.
You're talking about like drastic, like probably most likely will never happen, but if it does happen, I'm there for you regardless, no matter what.
And
it's a good thing. Like, I agree with you.
I'm using a big example. I'm just giving it a different perspective. So I'm using a big example for like even whatever scenario it is. If there is something that's like, maybe we're having a family conflict or whatever, and like, let's say the house situation. There wasn't some family conflict, but the family thing is like, okay, well, like I gave you my room. That's whatever. That's like the bare minimum I could have done, in my opinion. Like, bare minimum. I forgot where I was going with this. So yeah, you had a sort of situation, and there was an issue. But for me, I'm just trying to figure out a solution for you so you can be comfortable. Maybe it is just throwing a blanket for now, but like, I think for me, that is the most loving thing I can do. And I think maybe I'm wrong, but with perspective on family is like, I don't really know what's going in you, and like, I can't really be the solution to your problem. I can try to, but this is my solution to the problem. It's because I love and I care for you, so I'm gonna try. Maybe it's the wrong solution, but like, here it is. This is my advice. This is my like what I want to. Like,
this is what I can offer you.
I'm willing to do this for you. And I think so. Like I said, I agree, but I disagree to your statement of like, sometimes the perspective of how to sort of deal with family is a bit skewed. The value is good, but the whatever it is, the way of going in, the content is messed. But also on the other side, so I'm talking a lot, but I apologize.
No,
so from your perspective, someone is throwing a blanket over the thing, but from their perspective, it's like, I'm really trying to help you out. Maybe it's not solving the actual issue. Like, we didn't find the person that's cutting your leg off. Like, he's still going out cutting people's legs off.
Oh my God. This analogy is so good.
I don't know how this came about.
Just run with it. Run with it.
Run with it. Wait. Thanks. But from their perspective, like from my perspective, where I'm trying to help, if you have that, like, stop trying to just throw a blanket over it, then it's like, I'm not saying this is you, but it's like, now you're being selfish because I'm literally just offering you my leg, and you're like, it's just like nothing to you. It's like, it's just stop. Sort of thing. When I'm like, bro, like, that's the most, like, that's what I like.
But
that's
I think the thing is there, because like, I agree with your disagreement. The thing is there, I feel like, again, it comes back to the issue of like who the person is. Because,
for sure.
Like, if you were, for example, if my leg was cut off and you were to be like, I'll give you my leg. I know you as Jonah, you're doing it because you do care and you have a heart, and like, you have a heart. You have the heart for it. Like, I know that Jonah as a person, like, you're going to do as much as you can to help others. By
the way, I just say leg is probably the worst example, because like this, there's not logic. Like, if I were to give you, like, what's the replaceable? Like, I give you my kidney or something like that. That's something that I can actually give you.
Just like, you know, leg replace. I don't even know what it's called. Transplant.
Yeah, but like, my leg won't work on your leg. Literally.
No, but yeah, because to me, like, I think I've had a lot of experiences in this as well, where and of course it's not 100% again, like people might just be like, oh, you're just making assumptions. But I feel like the more situations come up, you can tell what people's hearts are like, if they're actually doing it because they care or because they're just putting on a show.
Yeah.
Or like it's kind of like, you know, that episode in Friends where Joey and Phoebe, I think it's like in the later kind of seasons, Joey and Phoebe, they're talking about like there's no a good deed that isn't selfish.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that thing where it's like some people do it because it makes them feel good. And it's not necessarily because I actually have the heart to help you. And I've been in that situation a lot of times.
Yeah, of course,
and it's not something where I'm just like, oh, they've done something once and I'm just judging them straight, like for face value. It's something that's happened multiple times over and over again. And I've learned about the person, and it's just like, okay, so you're not actually helping to be helpful because you have a heart and you care for me. It's because you want to glorify yourself. And I think that's the thing, like for me as well. Again, it's not like I have some secret talent or something like that, but like I've learned kind of, and it's not accurate 100% of the time, obviously, because I am human in the end, but I can kind of tell when someone's genuine or not. And you are genuine.
Thank you.
So it's just like, if I know, like if Jonah's going to come and help me with something, I know he genuinely wants to help because I know the person that he is. That's just Jonah. Like if you know Jonah, you know what I'm talking about.
It's an interesting perspective because
see, that's the thing. Like no one thinks like this.
No, the thing is, it makes sense, but to me, it makes sense when you talk about friends in this way, because like with family, and me and you have completely different views of family because of the situations. Yeah. But with family, it's like, you know, the worst and best of your family. So like, it doesn't really make sense for, let's use me in this example. It doesn't make sense for me to make myself look better for a family member because they've seen my best and my worst. So it's like, well, who am I actually trying to impress here? You know what I mean? Like, no.
And I think that's just your family situation. Whereas like the family situation I've come from, it's like,
so that
no one thinks about other people except for themselves.
That's different. That's that's why I was referring to like my family situation.
Yeah,
of like,
it's different.
Yeah.
So like, of course, like my view on like family is not as in family. Oh my god, family is not. It doesn't
sound like you're saying it incorrectly.
I said family that time because I was going to say value of family. Anyway. The value of family, I'm not saying as a general for like it's not going to be applicable to everyone's family, because I know there are some families where it's just like they are like each other's best friends and they know everything about each other in a sense where it's just like, I will lift you up, I will encourage you, I'll support you no matter what. Sometimes we may argue, but like it's like a speck in the whole, like when you look at the whole thing. I know there are some families like that, and my goal as a mother and as a wife is to raise that kind of family. I just unfortunately didn't come from that kind of family. So that's why my perspective is this way. And like, obviously my experience has, informed my decision on that. But it's not like I'm writing off family forever. Like if anyone's watching being like, oh my gosh, she's just too hurt. Like, no, I know that there is an importance of family. I know it is valuable, and I know it's a gift from God. God has blessed us with family so much. Like, honestly, the amount of times like we've gone through something and like family has been there for us.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not disregarding family completely. I'm just saying, in certain situations, we put the value of family up too much where it hurts ourselves more than anything else.
So how?
If that makes sense.
No, that makes sense. What you're saying, it makes sense. Again, like, it's hard to, again, we've come from completely different places. And this is biblically, I think the value we have of family is correct. Like I said before, it's correct. You're saying it is too high, and I understand where you're coming from. I think the reason why you're saying it's too high because the content
Yeah.
inside isn't worth that much. But we shouldn't be trying to drop the value. We should be trying to up the worth.
Yeah.
So my question is, what steps do we take to upping the worth of the family?
I think most importantly, you have to work on yourself. Because like I said before, like family is made up of individuals, and you can't control what another individual says, does, thinks. But if you all collectively hold that value of family and it's the same, then like obviously if there's like some kind of like kinks, you have to be able to look at that and fix that from your own kind of work on yourself. Because no one else can do it for you. They can help you, but if you're not putting in the work for yourself to become a better person, to improve in certain aspects in your life that need improvement, like literally no one else is going to do it for you.
Be self-critical.
Yeah. You have to, again, think and be introspective, whatever the word is. You have to be in a constant state of self-reflection. And especially, like, it's getting much harder because of our society, because they're just like, no, you are always right. If you feel upset and offended by something that someone else did, you are in the right. It's like, no, you can be offended, you can be upset, but that doesn't mean that you're right in the situation. Like, it just means that there is something wrong, but that might be something wrong that you need to work within yourself. Maybe it's the other person. I don't know. But we need to have that kind of self-reflection from a non-biased perspective as much as possible. We need to stop pitying ourselves so much.
My eye's dying, sorry.
Are you itchy?
I don't know, my left eye just started dying. Sorry, continue.
No, but yeah, like we need to stop pitying ourselves so much. We need to be above approach in a sense. But yeah, it is something that is very difficult to do. Like, I'm not saying it to be like, oh yeah, it's so easy. Like, just reflect. Come on, guys. It is a skill that needs to be practiced. And for me, that's something that I have practiced. And again, when we're going back to like me getting married, I think that's something that I started, especially in my relationship with Roger, because growing up and like when I started going through depression, anxiety and all that kind of stuff with like divorce, I did kind of pity myself a lot. And I think that's also why I didn't hang out with people a lot. And even like it came to the point where like people knew I wasn't going to come to things, so they would just not invite me. And I'm like, why did I not invite me? It's like, okay, but look at yourself, woman. You every time you declined for absolutely no reason. Like there was a reason, but like it wasn't really a good enough reason. People genuinely just wanted to hang out with you. Like, relax. It's not you. Like, you're just in your own head about it.
But your point is like, like once they stopped inviting you, you're just like, why are they stopped inviting you? When realistically, you are the problem.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Yeah. People really hate to be blamed and really hate to be like, I am the problem. They push it off as much as possible. But sometimes we need to wake up and realize, yeah, you are the problem. And if you don't realize that, the situation is not going to get fixed. And people are going to have to eventually walk away. That's just what it is. I
think when people hear, like I said, self-critical, when people hear that, I think they instantly think of negative, especially coming from me. Like,
stop hating yourself, Jonah.
Yeah, you probably think negative. I would say self-deprecating, self-detrimental or something like that it is. But there is a side to that where I actually value a lot, which is the self-critical part. Like that comes in self-detriment and whatever. But self-critical is like, that's how I have bettered myself. That's how I'm very critical of like every like thing that I've done. Like there is stuff that I was like 8 and I still remember, like I regret massively. Like, this isn't normal, I know. But like I regret massively to this day, and I definitely won't do that like again, because it's like, again, not healthy, but it's like I'm that self-critical that which turns to self-detriment. There is a balance. being self-critical is so important because it's literally like Matthew 7 where it talks about judging. It says, take the log out of your own eye before you take a speck out. Try and take the speck out of your brother's eye. That's like literally the saying, or your neighbor's eye. Like that is self-critical. Like that you have a log in your eye, but you're not seeing it because you're not self-critical.
And that's why I think it really is like, it's not something that comes naturally, again, because we are sinful and our society is just, but it's a skill that needs to be practiced, and it's not just going to come overnight. And I think especially from a Christian point of view as well, we kind of grew up in the culture of if you're self-deprecating, you're humble, and that's not right. Humility and self-deprecation are not the same thing.
Yeah, for sure.
You can be humble without putting yourself down to the point where you feel like you're dirt.
That's I think where I came from. Like,
yeah, and that's
like,
why Roger's like, oh, stop hating on yourself.
Yeah, but I think I've matured a little bit at least. Again, self-deprecation.
Just a little.
Where like I'm slowly learning like that's not like that's false humility. Firstly, secondly, it's like like I'm made in the image of God, right? Yeah. And I know that might be physical and whatnot, but like God has made me the way I am, and when I'm extremely self-deprecating, that's when like I'm spitting in the face of God. That's when actual pride comes in. That's when like
you're trying to be the opposite of proud, and then you end up being proud.
Yeah, literally false humility. And I think like this is a very hot take. I think genuinely the two biggest killers in the world in general, not even just in Christian circles, but in the world is pride or selfishness and lust. Like I think I have a hot take on this as well, but we won't get into that today. But pretty much
Let's do it. Let's make this like a 3-hour podcast.
This is wild. My hot take is that all the skewed gender roles and all that stuff, in my opinion, comes from like porn and lust from them. So that's a different topic, but maybe one day I can go through that. But this one is all the like, oh, you got to value yourself more than others. Literally, the Bible is so against it. My favorite verse, is like, I've said it so many times on this podcast because like even in Christian circles, we get it so wrong. But it's like, for me, like that is the staple of being a Christian. And I'm going to recite the verse again. I'm pretty sure I did last podcast. I did it in Darian's podcast, I think. But like,
that's how important this verse is, guys. Everyone memorize it.
But literally, do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility count others more significant than yourselves. It's literally the complete opposite to what the world is telling you about. And that's why I think when you need a leg or a kidney, like I would hope that, like I say it now, maybe in the time it's different, but I would hope that is genuine, like from me, because like I value that verse. And like that verse, the whole chapter talks about Christ and how he humbled himself. That's literally the tattoo that I have.
Which I always forget that you have. I'm just like, dude has a tattoo. What?
It's like cockroaches on my.
Oh my god!
Triggered.
Fleas, cockroaches, everything. Birds.
But that is like the pinnacle for me. Like I could be wrong because it doesn't seem like everyone else is like this, but but that is like that is how we become more like Christ, and is being less self-centered, more self-critical. I mean, Christ didn't have to be self-critical, but he's perfect. But more self-critical, less judgmental, and more like just loving, really.
Yeah, 100%.
And consider others more significant than yourself.
And it's so opposite to our nature.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like
that's why it's so hard.
Yeah, it's like I'm nowhere near getting to that place, but I try to at least.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
I think that's why I value it so much, because like I always say this, like I feel like I'm just a broken record. I have like a few like
just iconic lines.
Yeah, if you have a few lines I just say, but I forgot what I was going to say.
It's so iconic that like we can't say it again.
if everyone stuck to that verse and actually counted others more significant than themselves, like no one would have to count themselves significant more than another, because like I'm living for you, or I'm living for the people around me, then the people around me are also living for me.
Yeah.
So it's like we're all sustained by each other.
Yeah.
And we also have gratitude for each other, because like it's just that's in my head, the perfect world is where we are all just giving nonstop to each other, as in like not even just money or like materials, but like ourselves to each other. We're not using excuses of like whatever, like I don't know, just dumb excuses.
No, I get what you mean.
Yeah, and that brings me back to the family. I think the content of it is the problem, not the value, because biblically we need to value family.
Yeah.
The content of it is where we're failing currently. Obviously, some people fail with the value. Some people put it too high. Some people put it too low. We need to put it in the right place.
We just need priorities.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. But even like with priorities, sometimes it gets a bit too close to God. That's not good. Even though God is first, it's like, well, it's too close to God.
Nothing should be close to God.
Yeah, literally.
Like,
yeah.
Just be light years away.
I mean, Paul literally says we need to count it all as trash, pretty much, because in comparison.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, in my opinion, the only place that I would say, I don't even think you disagree, but like,
I think we're on the same page. We're just speaking from different perspectives.
Yeah, exactly. It's just value. Again, sometimes it's wrong, but for me, at least, I feel like it's in the right place. But the content, like, needs to improve.
Yeah,
and I think 100%. from people I see is that as well. So yeah, I think, and also if the content was like actually good, then I think the value for everyone would be the same.
Oh yeah,
as well. You know what I mean?
100% for sure.
Yeah,
because I don't think you would come into contact with any person. They'll be like, I hate family. Family is trash. Like completely, like it's not worth anything. Because even though it sounded like that's what I was saying, it's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
everyone values family. It's just the way they go about it, and like again, it's just sin just ruins everything, man. Sin is the worst.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That is mental.
Because I work tomorrow. It's 1 a.m.
We might need to do like part 2.
I think we will wrap up here. Is there anything else you want to say on this topic? We didn't take the Polaroid.
Oh, true. I gotta make it like perfect. Gotta try it with the timer.
We can do it off camera as well, but
we'll just
we can do it now.
Figure it out.
As we sort of set it up, is there anything you would like to say? The thing is, you won't be able to see it because it takes like 10 minutes.
10 minutes?
I don't know. I just assume like 10 minutes to
develop.
Yeah, I think so.
It's
a pretty big film.
I didn't know that made a difference, really.
I don't know.
That's fine. I'm like, we can take it whenever. I don't mind.
No, we'll take it now. But I'm saying you.
Just how do you
might
take
not see it?
How do you put on the timer? Is there only one film left?
The front.
This one?
Yeah.
I was about to be like, this one? Ooh. There's a light. Oh, it's just one thing?
There's the flash is behind you if you wanted to flash. We're trying to figure out how to take good photos with this thing, because every Polaroid we've had is...
The thing is, like, I want to like sit on something, so it's like, but where do I put it?
We can move the table if you like. Put it somewhere.
That'd be like too small.
Crouch.
Just go on the floor.
Yeah, I don't really know. You can put it on the camera. It's just a bit risky.
I don't want to break anything. Everything's so expensive.
No, not my budget.
I just don't want to flash anyone. Sorry, guys.
What was I going to say? Oh, I don't know how long this podcast is. For us, it's been almost 3 hours.
Look, when Lauren does things creatively, it always is 10 times longer than it needs to be.
No, look, I'm fine with it being long because there's going to be stuff we're going to cut out. Yeah, so we actually have no idea how long it is because there's going to be a lot that's cut out.
That's not.
That's not going to hold.
Scary.
How about we cut and then I'll bring something that we can hold it on.
Okay. It's so weird.
Guys,
Look,
the main camera angle.
you can still see me though.
I'm actually going to probably leave this in. We've set up a system where, like, it's not like
It's not the best
you have no
system.
idea what's happening.
Look,
but
we're experimenting.
we have literally a box with a foam roller
We should-
on the camera on top. But honestly, we can just stand here. Oh, you want it as like we're like,
I mean,
it's
we
not
can,
going to work.
It's not
Yeah,
gonna work.
it's
But
too
like,
wide.
we can just, we'll just,
Do you want the microphones?
do we stand? Do we?
How do you want to do it? I don't know. You're literally,
I
it's
don't
all
know.
up to you.
We'll just do it here. If it doesn't work, then it doesn't work.
Yeah.
People can learn from my mistake.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Oh, wait, microphones, are we standing? What are we doing?
We'll just sit and
No microphones?
no,
wait,
have
microphones.
microphones. Like this. Okay.
I love how in
The
the...
creative process, guys. Oh, is it off?
Yeah, it might have turned off.
You have to hold it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you want flash on or off? Did you check?
It's on. I just trying to learn from their mistakes.
But remember you said if it's still, it's okay.
It's
with
true. Look, whatever. We'll leave the flash on.
Okay.
And
All right, let's suss it out.
we'll see what happens. All right. You
Let's
can
go
smile.
test.
And whatever.
I can't smile. You know that.
Yes, it's true. Okay, I'm scared. Okay.
Alright.
Hello?
Did you press so hard enough?
It
not
flashed. It flashed for a second. Okay.
flashing. It's got to
This is so
take.
difficult.
Oh, there we go. How long?
This is so awkward. Okay.
Oh, I might have blinked.
Look, one and done, whatever. I'm scared. How do you pull it out? Oh, what? What did I do? Okay. Anyway, in the cupboard you go, mate. Is that the last film? I think it was.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Just
Just don't forget.
All right, we can leave the box there. Oh no, we cannot. Yeah.
Ah. Oh my gosh, I thought I saw a cockroach. I freaked out with the shadow. Oh my
Oh yeah, these what's it called, floorboards. They all look like cockroaches.
I would get so tripped.
Yeah, this has been fun.
It's been
Again,
real.
I don't know what's in the video, but I hope it's good enough.
If you want me back to continue talking about weird things.
Oh, sorry, I just knocked her out.
It's alright, it's soft.
Yeah, I think we will end there.
You know what I think would be interesting? Having me and Roger on at the same time.
We should do that, and then we can talk about what we spoke about off camera.
Like, Roger, this is an intervention.
We should do that. That would make no sense then if
I
it's all
know.
cut out. That's funny.
If you know, you know, but you won't.
Is there anything that you would like to shout out or?
Shout out. Shout out to Roger, to Arcee, to Joel, my boys. No.
Your daughter.
My daughter. My daughter's the best.
The
And
intro might be her
my
voice.
daughter. You will get a taste of how cute she is just
Yeah.
from her voice.
It might be this one if we do it in time. Maybe next one.
I don't know if it will be on time, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
Oh wait, but we're having. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll make time. We'll make time.
All right.
I was gonna say something. Shout out to my kids. This one that's coming as well. Please be an easy labor. So yeah, if you guys want to pray for me that I go into labor naturally because I didn't last time, I would be very grateful.
That's a whole nother story. As well.
That's a whole other story. But yeah, anyway, last time I didn't go into labor naturally. And again, me being a person that's like, do everything as natural as possible, it was very sad for me. So I would at least like to experience going into labor naturally. So if you could pray for me for that to happen,
Do it.
that would be great. Very random thing to say, but what else? I don't have anything to shout out really.
You have something you're working on, but
Oh yeah, true. I actually don't even have like a release date for that. Like everything's set up, but
well, then to release
like-
it then.
I should. But I'm just, I don't know.
On Monday, release it same time.
4 p.m. Everyone can go check it out. No, but my company, I'm trying to make a small business because I want to be, this is something kind of to do with like being a Proverbs 31 woman kind of thing. Everyone's like, Proverbs 31 woman, she's just like, she's at home and she does home things. But the thing is, she actually does earn money. I don't think people talk about that enough. And I want to be that. I want to be helpful in the flow of income, especially in this day and age where it's like you need a double wage to survive. But again, my most important role is being a mother to my kids and obviously a wife to my husband. But yes, basically my company is called Shiloh and Faye. It is mainly for mothers. And it's, I don't know if I should just explain the whole thing.
For some reason I thought you meant like 4 mothers.
It's for 4 mothers only. Everyone else can.
Like not 4 mothers, as in like, like Shiloh and Faye. I was like, oh, that's 4 mothers.
That's very weird. No, Shiloh and Faye. Shiloh's just a name that I've always liked. I actually brought it up as a name to name our kid, and was just like, what the heck is that? I like the name Shiloh. Anyway, and then Faye is just like, I don't know, Faye, without saying faith. Anyway, Shiloh and Faye, it is primarily for mothers. I want to make it more for like Christian mothers, but I don't want it to be exclusively like closed off to everyone else necessarily. It will mainly be a digital product store, but in the future, who knows? Who knows what the future holds? I just have to have the confidence to release it, because I've actually had the business like government wise and like all that. I've had it for a year. And I never did anything with it because I was so scared. That's something I lack a lot, confidence. I have a fear of failure for like everything. And I'm just like, what do I have to fear if this does fail? Like, who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares? Literally.
Learn something from me. Like, you might think I'm not confident, but in that aspect, like I'm confident with, I put myself on the line.
Yeah.
I couldn't care less.
Yeah. I'm just like so terrified of like everything. This comes with being a goody two shoes as well. Literally in school, I would know the answer to something. Like the teacher would be like, oh, so does anyone know the answer to this? I would know it, mumble it, and not say it, even though it's right. And then when they say the answer, I'm just like, I just fear of being wrong. Yeah. Actually, one time I did mumble it and I was like right at the back. And the teacher's like, what was that, Lauren? You say it again. And I was like, this is the answer. She's like, yeah, that's right. I was like,
that's right.
That was terrifying, even though I was right. So yes, all of the story. I have a business.
Honestly, I actually like think about it. I might split it into 2 because no one will listen to a 3-hour podcast. The thing is,
trust that I would come on for a 3-hour podcast.
It's funny because like I'm usually really good at like 2 hours is like cut off. Like with everyone, like even with people that's like Bashar, I speak to for like Bashar and Fadi. I can speak to them for like centuries and not like even notice. But I was like 2 hours. I think the problem was like I don't know what we're cutting out. So I was like, it's gonna be less than 2 hours. But now we're 3 hours. I'm like, I'm not cutting out an hour of stuff.
I don't know.
So I might actually be 2 podcasts.
Oh, I feel very special now.
Yeah. Honestly, it saves me 1 episode to make.
Yo, how many Mondays a year?
53.
53 Mondays. I actually Googled it afterwards because I forgot and I didn't want to watch the video back. And it said 52. And I'm like, what? It's leap year this year, so 53.
That's why I said 2024. All right.
Pray that I don't give birth on the leap year date. No, I won't.
Oh, actually, so funny.
Please don't.
Anything you want to say before we close off?
Everyone learn to self-reflect. It is very important. It is not something, again, that comes naturally necessarily. It is a skill that you need to practice, but self-reflection helps you and the people around you. So it is very important. Learn it.
Amen. And I think that's all. Thank you for coming on, Lauren.
No worries. Finally.
Finally, yeah, it's true. Thank you all for watching. I hope there was value. Value.
That's the name of this podcast. Value.
If you can. That sounds like a swore. No. If you can count the amount of times we said family minus the times we said it, we said value, and give me the answer, I will give you $10.
That is not worth it. There is no value in that.
Because, yeah. All right.
Like a box of chocolates or something.
It's less than $10.
Not really.
Actually, this day and age. I bought a croissant that was $10.
What? From where?
Uni. Anyway,
Makes
I will
sense.
see you guys next time, and peace.